now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, Paul, thanks very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition, Sunday night edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Bob Pompeani here, manning the phones until 11 o'clock. Hope you had a nice weekend. Lots to talk about with the Steelers, who are now pretty much in gear at training camp, day number 3, first day in pads. We had a lot of different players step up. It's only practice, so you can't draw too many conclusions, but we've seen Juju Smith-Schuster look really good and comfortable, making all the catches. There's a no-drop zone for him. He's been good. We've also seen a lot of defensive backs go on the jugs machine, which is also good, and you wonder why they didn't do it earlier. This team came away with the fewest amount of turnovers in the NFL, or at least the AFC. I'm not sure about the NFL, but they led the NFL in sacks. So you would think the pressure on quarterbacks would lead to more turnovers, but yet that did not translate last year. So they're working on that. And contractually, it looks like Joe Hayden may be in line for a deal because Drew Rosenhaus was in camp today speaking with Omar Khan, part of the Steelers front office, and does a great job with the salary cap. And so those two were talking. Hayden needs a new deal. He was optimistic, he said the other day when we talked to him, that one could get done. In the meantime, he also has Sean Davis, who's a client, and others. So we'll see what happens with Joe Hayden in the next couple of days. If anything, the Steelers get back at it tomorrow. 2 more practices. One at 2:55 is open to the public. A reminder, we have our first preseason game coming up on August the 9th. That was a week from last Friday. So within 2 weeks, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to Heinz Field. You'll see it on KDKA-TV. Charlie Batch and I will be in the booth. Missy Matthews, Rich Rawls also on the coverage. So that'll be on the 9th. In the meantime, the Steelers will continue to practice out at Latrobe. They'll have a night practice later this week, too, at Latrobe High School Stadium. As far as the Pirates, well, same old, same old. There's nothing new to say other than they lose. 2-14 in their last 16. They're now 3 games behind the Reds in the battle for last place in the Central Division. At the top, it's the Cubs, who gained a full game on the Cardinals. The Cardinals lost today to the Astros, who are getting hotter and hitting a lot. And then we saw the Cubs, specifically Kyle Schwarber. He got going with 2 home runs, a grand slam and a 3-run home run as they won 11-4. Chicago, St. Louis tied for first. Milwaukee is 1 back. Then it's the Reds at 8 out, and the Pirates are now 11 games out of first place. So the wheels have come off, and it makes you wonder. The trade deadline is just 3 days away. The Pirates at one point were contemplating potentially adding on. Now you've got to believe they're going to be sellers, and big-time sellers. And you wonder what the message is from management to players, from management to the fans, from owner to general manager and manager. Will there be a response to this completely free fall that we've seen so far? Interesting. We'll talk about it on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. That's coming up tonight at 11:35 on KDKA, so tune in for that. Chris Muller's on the program, along with Paul Zeiss and Jason Mackey, who's a beat writer for the Pirates. Another question I want to throw out to you guys tonight is terrible. Again, ERA trending towards 6. It's over 5. He gave up 6 runs in the first inning today. The funny thing about Chris Archer is his velocity, his spin rate, and a lot of the stats you would look at on more of the analytics side are still pretty good. But for whatever reason, he is getting hit hard. He's leaving pitches up in the zone. He leads the National League in most home runs given up. I mean, just so many things that Chris Archer is failing at. And you wonder now, they have an option coming up. It is a team option on what to do with him next year. If you bring him back, and the justification would be, okay, we made a big trade to get him. We're not just going to give him away now. So you would bring him back, I suppose, if that's the case, even though he hasn't deserved that. Or if you want, because, as I said, those analytics look pretty good despite the record and despite the amount of home runs he's given up, you could be a team right now that knows there's an option coming up and say, we want a rental player, he could be it. And maybe, just maybe, going to a new team with a new set of eyes, he then could turn it on down the stretch, and the Pirates might be able to get something. Likely not. But the big question will be, do you pick up his option? I want to hear from you. It's 412-575-2600. You can also tweet me at KDPomp. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, Pittsburgh CW. Coming back right after this with your calls. The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, putting new roofs on Pittsburgh homes for over 25 years. Call Ireland Contracting at 1-800-NEW-ROOF.